welcome to Family Business World. I have another wonderful guest, Paul Steck. Paul, thanks for coming out.
Good to be here.
Good to see you. Good to see you. And this is particularly interesting because you are part of your business is part of the business that makes things better, you know, as they say. But first, I want to find out who you are. Tell me a little bit about your background and your dad's background.
Okay, yeah, because it is a family business. I can't talk about just my dad without talking about my grandparents.
Okay, good.
My grandparents both immigrated from Germany when they were teenagers. They went through an apprenticeship program. They chose not to go to college, and they chose to work with their hands. And when they left Germany, it was during the hyperinflation times, and they were looking for better opportunities. And they both came over here with nothing other than their education.
Wow.
And worked their way up, and eventually both started their own companies. So my mother grew up in a family business, and my father grew up in a family business. And
now, what companies did they have? What did they start out?
Well, they're both in metalworking.
Okay.
But both in metalworking. So my mother's father was very involved in like canning and tool and die, and they made the early flip-top cans. They made the tools for the early flip-top cans.
Wow.
And my father's father got involved with more sheet metal, and he built the first satellite called Telstar with AT&T Bell Labs. So they really latched on to their careers in manufacturing and self-taught. You know, you get started.
So they didn't go, your dad didn't go to college, but he was working with Bell Labs.
No, my grandfather.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, your grandfather didn't go to college, but he was working with Bell Labs.
He was working for Bell Labs.
For Bell.
They were a
that's
customer.
amazing.
They were a customer of his. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So then my dad did go to college. He got his mechanical engineering degree after flying jet planes in the Air Force. He enlisted during the Korean War, and so he was able to take the business from where it was and run with it. And he grew and had a couple other opportunities to buy other small manufacturing companies that complemented his.
Right.
One was for painting and one was for molding, which is the company that I purchased from the family business.
So for the audience, because there's so many moving parts, so his business was the precursor to the current business.
That's right.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
And he bought it from the owner at the time.
The business that I own now was purchased from the original founder of the business, the guy who started the company, the real entrepreneur.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And that was in the 70s?
That was in 1971 when the company was started, and in 1983 my dad bought the company, and then in 1991. I bought the company from my dad's company.
Wow,
yes.
wow.
Yep.
And so in 1971, what did the company do? What were the products of the company?
So it was started by a gentleman named Ed Varga, who was an engineer at Hewlett-Packard, and he was charged with making instrument housings for their their computers, their billing machines and things like that. And
so the cases around the instruments.
The cases around the instruments.
Okay,
and he found this new process that was out of from Bayer. In a polyurethane process called reaction injection molding, which is what we do. And basically it's two highly reactive liquids that get introduced to each other inside the mold, and they react and polymerize in a matter of minutes.
Wow.
And that's how, and the niche that we're in is large, highly detailed parts in small quantities. So Ed started that company and then came to my father's company, who was a supplier to him, looking for an exit. And so that's how I got involved. I was working for my father.
How old were you when you first started working in the business?
Well, I got dragged out of bed on Saturday mornings as a kid and brought in, and I was, sweeping the floors and wiping down machines and cleaning windows, and eventually I got, a file in my hand and deburred edges and drilled holes, and just along the way, a lot of menial repetitive tasks that were sometimes difficult to endure.
So did you read the blog that I wrote? I wrote this week in a blog.
I did.
And the whole sweeping the floors, and this blog talks about family business succession and the fact that every successful succession, the people started sweeping the floors. It's amazing how consistent that is.
Yeah.
But it also gets you to value the business more. You don't if you start out as a VP, it's not that big a deal. So it's really, really interesting.
Not all that different from a house. You know, you take pride in where you live, and you have to clean it up and keep it organized.
You got to keep it clean.
And a business is even more so. There's a lot more moving parts and a lot more ways to get disorganized. So Yeah, I still do sweep the floors.
There you go. See, that's the way. Now, I understand you have a video that you want us to look about the business. So in a second, we'll see that, and you can talk about it afterwards.
Okay.
Exothermic Molding, a pioneer in the reaction injection molding industry, has been providing high-quality products and services to the medical, electronic, and lab instrument market for almost 50 years.
Exothermic provides reaction injection molding services to medical device and laboratory instrument manufacturers. Those products tend to be large in size, highly designed, and have very high-quality finishes, and that is our specialty.
The company has invested in a modern, state-of-the-art facility with computerized PLC machinery and other proprietary technological advancements.
We offer reaction injection molding of large and complicated parts from concept all the way through to create.
Experience, design, freedom.
That's a great video. Talk us through the video, if you would.
Well, basically, it shows our little company, about 10,000 square feet, and the people that work there. And it's highly labor intensive, and we really have to work very closely with our people to make sure that they do things correctly, and they're really our most important resource.
But your big machines, your multi-million-dollar machines, but you're saying the people are really the most important.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
see,
right.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize. One of the reasons that I do this show and really talk about family businesses is that so often politicians think that family businesses are not employee friendly. But they have to be.
You have to
You
be.
can't afford to have people leave you for someone else. So you treat people better than other people. Talk a little about that.
Well, it's the reality is that if you want to be productive and you want to do things right the first time, you have to have people who are going to be paying attention and be motivated. And we try to give them some career paths and some training and some patience at the same time. But we do try to make it better every year financially for them. We try to give better and better benefits, and we try to make a nicer workplace. And it's the most important thing we can do is invest in our people.
Yeah, yep. And so talk a little bit about the products that you work with, that result from your moldings, and what are some of the things that people might know about?
Well, right now our newest project is a job that is for a robot that's going to be delivering for FedEx instead of people.
Wow.
It's proposed. We don't know if it's going to succeed or not, but a lot of it is R&D related, and some of the products that we make don't ever go anywhere, but a lot of things are medical devices, laboratory instruments, things that are highly designed, and so we work from the design phase with the designers all the way through designing molds, making the molds, processing the parts, and even assembling.
So afterwards. The casing, so if we were talking about a robot or something, you would make the casing of the robot.
That's right.
Interesting.
Yep.
Wow.
Make it look good.
You make it look good.
Yep.
I mean, do you have the capability of making it look like a human? They always talk about the sci-fi shows have the human-looking robot.
We're doing a little bit of that. One of our customers makes respirators for firemen, and we have a human-looking head that they test the respirators on.
Oh, really?
So it's not out of the question.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
So you're a 22nd century kind of development stuff.
We go where the opportunities are. We try to be very responsive to our customers and to try to help them accomplish their goals. Yeah.
Well, you're working with one of my consulting partners, Andrew Frazier. One of the things that I'm so impressed with you, that you have a very successful business, you're doing real well, but you recognize the need to have an outside voice, someone from the outside to come in and help to guide you. And I'm sure it was a tough decision to say, I don't have extra money, but what really helped you make the decision to bring someone in to help you take your business to the next level?
Yeah. Well, business is a lot about surviving, and I survived getting the kids through college, and having survived that, life changes, and I looked at the business a little bit differently because at some point we're going to exit, and I wanted to make the company more valuable. Not that I'm planning on selling it, but I wanted to accelerate the progress that I was making, and I couldn't do it by myself. And I had to look for help.
That's an important point. So many businesses don't think about the valuation. You don't have to want to sell a business to really pay attention to the valuation. And I see so many businesses, the only value is the CEO. instead of really looking to build value along the way. So it's not about selling. So you're ahead of the game in doing that.
I believe that if you're not planning to sell the business, even though if you're not structuring the business to be sold, you're not really creating value.
Maximizing the value.
Yeah, and that's one of the nice things about a family business is you can create value, you can create wealth, but you have to do it in such a way that there's a market. You know, you're catering to maybe the market of buying and selling businesses at the same time as supplying a service. Yeah.
And I want to talk a little more about hiring, hiring a consultant. But your background now, you start out sweeping floors. Where'd you go to college?
I went to Cornell University.
Wonderful, Cornell, great.
I should have been a mechanical engineer, but I just did the undergraduate business route.
BA economics or finance?
Bachelor of Science.
Science, okay.
Yep. In economics and agricultural economics.
Okay.
In the ag school there.
Oh, interesting.
Yep, and I was an athlete also in college.
What sport?
I was a competitive springboard diver.
Right,
and did that. And actually
was this Greg Louganis' time?
Yeah, he and I were up against each other a little bit.
Did you compete against Greg Louganis, the gold medalist? Wow, that's pretty cool.
Never beat him, but
had my So you must have been pretty good to be in the. What was I love, because these are people behind. What made him so special? Why was he so good?
Yeah.
What was unique about what he did?
Just a brilliant athlete.
Really,
totally.
Just
a brilliant athlete.
Just controlled the body and how he dives.
Very strong. Comparison to like a dancer would be like Baryshnikov. Just out of reach for most people.
Just had that. Okay, so you did that, and what did you do right after college?
After college, I got my Series 7. I thought I wanted to be a Wall Streeter, and I was involved in financial services. I decided I didn't like that, and I was talking to my dad, and he said, well, why don't you give the family business a try? Because I'd been working all along the way part-time.
Right.
And he said, if you don't like it, at least you gave it a try. So I did go back to work, and it was a humbling experience because it wasn't doing financial things, and it was really doing physical things and working with my hands, and it did get a little bit boring, and there were some trying times, but it really took off for me when I had an opportunity to run a company that was not doing well, and I was able to actually change the direction of the company's finances, and that became very rewarding for me. So I started looking at business as more of a something that was sustainable, something that you could build, and for me it was a lot of managing at first, and now I'm looking at it a little bit differently.
Interesting. And so your dad didn't put a lot of pressure on you.
He did not.
Well, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll come back after the break.
Okay.
6 days a week. So when I'm off the clock, I got to get stuff done. So when I need a snack, I need something healthy, tasty, and easy to eat, like wonderful pistachios without the shells. They're protein-powered, delicious, and great on the go. And that's perfect for me. Thanks, Liz. A woman without a lot of time.
Whether you're a gourmet cook or just want to eat like one, visit Rostelli Market Fresh, your home for the freshest, locally sourced ingredients to please everyone who loves great food. Our organic meats, quality seafood, and free-range poultry are cut fresh to order. Chefs create culinary-inspired prep foods made fresh every day, which pair nicely with our vast selection of fine wines and spirits. Choose from handmade pastas, artisan cheeses, organic produce, and grocery items, all from the finest purveyors. Rostelli Market Fresh, from our family to yours.
Our most valuable resource is our people, our staff, our employees. We've had people work here for 40 years. We constantly try to help them develop their skills, and we constantly try to support them with the best benefits that we can. It's our whole philosophy is to invest in our people.
What I love about Exothermic in the 9 months I've worked here, they give me a chance to succeed. They're not only interested in improving the company, they're also interested in improving the individual successes.
I started out in the sanding department back in Sand Patch. One of the things I like most about Exothermic is that we're treated more like a family than just employees.
The example of growth that's happening, it's a company that's going somewhere.
I've been working for Exothermic for now 39 years, different cultures, different backgrounds.
Exothermic Molding. Experience, design, freedom.
we have, that was a great commercial. Thanks for sharing that with the audience. And you have some more things to share that, and so I'd love you to talk some of the pictures that you brought here to kind of explain more about the business to the audience.
Yeah, the video was about careers, and we've talked about how important it is to have a supply of people who you can train and they can become valuable. And then as we look through the parts, I can explain that a little bit too. But the parts are very labor intensive. There's a lot of handwork on them. The closest association I could make would be to auto body. And it's hard to scale auto body. It's so hands-on.
Yeah.
So these are parts for a company that does things for dermatology, and it was film-based, and they moved into digital realm, and now they're making 3D images out of photographs for people for plastic surgery. And it's very interesting to be able to keep track of your customers and follow their technologies.
Interesting.
I wish I could invest in some of their technologies.
That's state-of-the-art stuff. I mean, you're seeing the next gen of products that most people won't see.
That's right. That's right.
Do you have another? I think there's another picture.
Okay, so we've been getting involved in new materials. There's a new material that we're just starting. We're first on in the country in our little niche, and the material got a Nobel Prize in chemistry.
Wow!
And it took us some doing to get the machinery in place to process the chemistry, because it's got unusual ratios of A to B. I don't want to get too technical, but it is a very, very tough, groundbreaking material, and it has some ballistic.
And it's plastic.
It's plastic.
It's as hard as metal, almost as hard as metal.
It's just really durable. It's really tough material.
Really.
So that's our new area. We think that the company that sells the material is called Materia, and their material is called Proxima, and we're trying to promote that with our new customers.
And is it tough enough to stop a bullet?
It is.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. It's amazing what they're coming up. I mean, and as you see the development technology, anything's possible.
It's a real challenge because technology and things are changing faster and faster, and you got to make decisions. And one of the things in our small business is that you have to invest a lot every year. You have to continually invest in equipment and technologies, and it's kind of funny to see how even the offices have changed from the big box monitors to multiple screens on each desktop and all that. But the technologies are changing, and we're constantly investing.
And you have to. And I often say that if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards in the business world. You've got to be innovative. And the reality is, small can be much more innovative than big. One of the things, and my audience has heard me talk about, there's such an allegiance to big companies that move very slowly. And that hurts society because we don't have the innovation. We need to start supporting the family and small businesses out there.
And that goes back to hiring an advisor. I mean, I'm creative and I try to do things that are innovative, but that takes me away from running the business. And so I needed an advisor to help me to structure, levels within the business and reporting functions so I could keep track of the numbers and we could sort of make it more sustainable without me as I went into new directions, which is more interesting to me as we've gotten through different stages of the business. So hiring an advisor is very similar in concept to investing in technology. It's just investing in the business, and in this case, my advisor, Andrew Frazier, knows a lot more about certain things of business than I do, and he's been very helpful.
And Andrew, as you said, I mean, we've worked with Andrew a lot, and he has a small business pro, and I'm going to talk to him on my next show. But one of the things, too, that I think is important is that every family business and small business should entertain consultants. You don't have to hire them. And you may not even be ready to hire them, but it's important for them to come in and give you some ideas on how they can add value to your practice. Too many are saying, I don't have any money, I'm not going to talk to anybody. But sometimes you really can't afford not to. And so I applaud you to be willing to listen to, and I don't know if the first time you met Andrew that you were ready for it or not, but that's so critical.
It's true. You don't have to spend a lot to have an advisor. And there's organizations in manufacturing, there's organizations there to help support you. There's the NJMEP, there's a manufacturing extension partnership. There's a lot of things out there to help you. And I've always had people that I've looked to help guide me a little bit in one way or the other. And I've always reached out. You just can't do it by yourself. You just can't do it by yourself. And so I'm always looking for help.
Well, and then one of the things, what's near and dear to my heart is how family businesses give back to the community, how they work and do some things, and society doesn't know enough about what family businesses do. Talk about some of the ways that you're involved with the community.
Well, there's yeah, exactly. So there's the NJ MEP, which is an organization that gives to the community back, and we try to give money to them because they give back to the community. There's another manufacturing organization that I'm on the board of that we're trying to promote our organization to provide value to other manufacturing companies.
Wonderful.
I was on a workforce development board, so very, very near and dear is getting people that have talents and identifying those talents and helping them come to work and
but from the community,
provide
from economically challenged communities,
That's right.
And,
That's
and,
right.
And that's and the audience knows my dad knew in March with Dr. King, and he's 86 now, and you know, Dad was in the March on Washington, which was for jobs and freedom. And people don't realize that the movement was really more about jobs than anything else. We don't talk about that.
Opportunities.
And family businesses provide opportunities for folks, whether they're out of the community, whether they're coming back from prison. And so I really was pleased to hear about that program that you're really looking to give. And we all talk about STEM. You know, it's great to talk about STEM theoretically, and you know, but to give jobs in technology is so important.
Yeah, you look at, you know, opportunities can be opportunities for new business, but opportunities to find qualified people.
Right.
And sometimes those people don't come wrapped up and looking pretty. But they turn out to be very, very valuable to you. And just so we're always looking for opportunities to find people that we can hire and train. And we're trying to create career pathways for everybody.
Well, one of the things that you know, I always say, if you give a smart businessman the choice of, well, I'll give you money and mediocre people, or no money and great people, they'll take the no money and great people, because it's about great people. And so, and I think I've mentioned before, I have a foundation, the Dale Caldwell Foundation, and our focus, we call it Jobs for Peace, is to do what we call trauma-informed job training. And the whole idea is so many people are dealing with what I call urban traumatic stress disorder, that there's stress from being in a poor urban community, but things like mindfulness help people focus. And that, and a lot of folks don't use that mindfulness where you kind of, you know, you're present in the moment and you do breathing. That can meditation, and that actually, their functional MRIs show that the amygdala part of the brain, which is really what's out of whack with that, actually changes. And so they become better employees, they become better students. It has nothing to do with how smart you are. And I think we need to be open about trauma in those communities. And a lot of, now when there's unemployment is low in suburban areas, there are tremendous opportunities to get great people out of urban areas. And I applaud you for even making the effort to try to do that. That's very, very cool. Very, very cool.
Yep. Yeah. India uses meditation as healthcare. They provide it.
I didn't know that. Really,
the country provides it to everybody as part of their healthcare program.
Oh, that is interesting. See, you learn something every day.
Yoga and meditation. Yeah.
And the more I've read about, the more I've really looked at neuroscience. It's amazing how powerful that is. And even LinkedIn and Google, for many meetings, use that before the next meeting.
Do they?
And the reason they do that is that if you are in a meeting and you have an argument with your boss, the first 5-10 minutes in the meeting, you're not thinking about what's going on in the meeting.
You need to be still.
So they basically say, let's clear it out, let's clear our minds, so you're present in the meeting, and it's that much more efficient.
Maybe I can bring that to work a little bit. That's a good idea.
I think you should. And it doesn't have to be 15 minutes, but just a few minutes. And you know, back in our day, they remember the count to 10, you know, before. Well, this takes it to a step further. So what's next? What's in the future? Where are we going with the business?
Yeah, well, we're working hard on new technologies and new materials, and it's getting to be more and more of an R&D effort for us. And we're looking at introducing a new material to the marketplace, and then changing the way things are done with processing this material, and then other potential products that would might have a market. When you go from a company that just makes things for other people, you realize there might be some value in having your own product. So we're investigating products that might be valuable to us as a company and also to the marketplace both.
And your clientele are around the world? Companies that are...
We do. We've shipped parts into China. We've shipped parts to Germany. and then a lot of it's domestic.
Right, right. And that's what a lot of people don't realize is that so many of the businesses that are in, a place like New Jersey or New York or, are really, many of them don't even have many clients in the state. Many of their clients are around the country and around the world.
Yeah, it's more and more of a global marketplace. And I'm interested in the possibility of, setting up another business in other parts of the world because we might have something to offer.
Right. And you had talked about some other products related to domes and all that. I mean, it's just
Yep. Plastic domes for many purposes, residences or things where you can grow your own food supplies, deployable shelters. There's a lot of opportunities in that. And the new material that we're working with and old technology in terms of geodesics might be something that we can leverage.
Wonderful. And one of the things, and I don't like to beat up politicians and others, but I really like to educate folks, is that so often, some of the government policies are tone deaf to family businesses, tone deaf to small businesses. And I've had a couple people on the show who have been paying 100% for healthcare costs, but then the government comes in and saying you're paying too much. And so, do you have time to do anything to kind of support the cause with government about regulations or other things? You're just focused on your business, right?
I'm focused on my business. It would be nice if healthcare was less expensive, certainly, and you wonder about how big business influences government policy. But we have benefited from government programs. We've had low-cost loans, which helped us purchase our facility. And the NGA MEP is a government-sponsored agency through the Small Business Administration. So we do benefit from some government programs also. So it's not all just paying taxes.
Yeah, no, it's good, and there's some wonderful programs, and as I've said many times on the show that half of the gross domestic product in the U.S. are family businesses, and that really more than 60% of the jobs are family businesses. Yet so often we hear we're going through all sorts of political elections every year. There's something, and we hear about big businesses and unions, and yet this part of the segment of the world is forgotten. And so we really need to support that. Now, some have said that providing subsidized health care to family businesses and small businesses is really a way to really have health care for everybody. So, well, Paul, I think we're at time. These things go really quick. I want to thank you so much for your time.
Dale, it was a pleasure to join you here today.
And it's an honor to have you, and good luck with your business.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Take care. Bye-bye.